reports, update, discuss, recommend. We got 5 items here. Justin, we're gonna shoot with you, financial and child support, IRS audit.
Yep, just for your awareness that we are finalizing kind of the Baker Tilly financial audits. IT is involved with just overall cybersecurity controls, especially as it relates to the financial systems that we have that they reviewed. So there's a small finding that they're asking for more documentation on users' creation and access controls. So when we create a user, what does that process look like? So they're being very helpful, and we appreciate their help as well. Nothing major. Child support IRS audit. The state went through a child support IRS audit. We were part of it because we have an out branch of child support here. They use state applications, but we were also selected as a county to be part of that. They scanned some of our workstations and other systems that were involved. There was quite a bit of findings, nothing of urgency or criticality that we needed to work on immediately. But now we have to work through those findings, mitigate them, and then show evidence of deploying them. Some of the settings may break some of our Dodge County systems, so we need to use caution. And what we're going to do, we responded back to the state and the IRS and asked for a little bit more time on some of the Windows policies that control the computer, but more testing is going to be needed. And we're about 1/10 of all the findings in terms of the state. The state had about 2,000, some of what I can tell. So that's all I have.
Good. Storage area network, I know the word sales tax is there, but only because that's the source of the funds, right?
Yep, and if Josh wants to, he's the lead on this project as a technical, this the SANS, just the status of SANS.
Oh, I completed the last storage migration for the virtual machines this afternoon. There is one that's being a little fussy right now, so it still says it's on the old SAN, but I cannot find it anywhere. I reached out to the vendor, explained what was going on. They gave me some things to try. I'll try those tonight. And then if that's successful, great. If not, then they'll jump on a Zoom with me tomorrow, get that taken care of. After that, we will have the vendor decommission those SANs, and the one we're going to repurpose in a different location. So, but otherwise, the project went seamless, no issues. The cabling probably took the longest, but storage migrations, those are easy. So,
Any questions? Good. Network switch purchase?
So that was approved.
Board approved, right?
Yeah, board approved, and we're hoping to get that signed and purchased officially with the vendor. So it hasn't been purchased at this moment, but we're just doing some final review.
We had firm prices on that stuff, didn't we?
Yeah, firm prices, but there was due to some changes in the market and also the quotes and proposals themselves. The proposals did expire, because what the proposal that we got was 30 days. So that was past the timeframes that we were working through. So we did need to review the proposal, and it's the latest one is not under the not to exceed. But
Edges, right?
these are just all edge switches.
Edge switch.
And how long, you said it's not under, or it is under?
It is under.
It is under
Oh,
the
okay.
not to exceed.
They would double negatives if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, is the company gonna honor that agreement?
Unfortunately, switch availability is 6 to 7 to 9 months out, and they are not able to honor that. But it's within the RFP proposals that we received. And not within, but in close proximity of it. It's not double or significant increase, it's just a slight increase.
So you don't expect this to Christmas, is that what you're saying?
We're not expecting this till Christmas.
And then, what we have will work till then?
We will, yes, make sure that it does. So what we have to do is replace aging switches to make sure that the operation stays operational, plus stay compatible with our core. When we did the request for proposal, we did two options, and the vendors did bulk pricing. And then when we dropped from the big, let's say 30-some switches, that adjusted the price as well of what we learned. So,
The expected ship date was December 29th
Oh.
from right now.
Oh, we're gonna get them for New Year's.
different vendors, we've heard 9 to,
Cisco was 450 days on their,
Were we looking at price, same price, a little bit higher?
a little bit higher.
So we might be able to absorb some of that in next year's budget? If we have to.
We're gonna stay under not to exceed the amount.
Okay.
And then for next year, we'll budget, accordingly.
Okay.
Do a plan of carryover on there. Plan on some carryover already here.
I don't know. Yeah.
Supply issue again.
Nancy, do you understand why we're replacing the switches?
Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Yep,
Last
good.
meeting.
Kathy, yeah, you're good? All right. Any
So-
other questions on switches? Move on.
Thank you.
HR, and so now we're talking next year's projects, right?
Yeah, this is 2023.
All right, HR and payroll system project.
Yeah, so I'm glad you guys are sitting down. I was sitting down when I heard this.
It's going away.
So we learned not last Monday, but the previous Monday, that they are end-of-lifing our HR and payroll system 4/30/2024. Essentially, we need to be on a new payroll system 1/1/24 because they will not provide any tax levy or ledge updates for 2024. So we really need to be on something new.
Now we're talking Kronos, right?
Talking about Kronos, yep. Yep, UKG is what they're known for as now. So working back there, back from that, we need to have system ready in September. We need to have test and validation starting in July. We need to configure it within the spring and early summer so that we're prepared for that, because training has to be done before ready, or after system ready and go live. So we are gonna try to get the budget estimates of what this cost looks like, and from there, get a contract signed as soon as the budget is approved. Lots.
Million? What are we talking?
We don't think that.
1.5?
We are hoping it's going to be under that. And we have obviously two providers that we can consider. The easiest one from like for like is probably UKG to UKG. So we have Workforce, 2 dimensions. It's going from on-premise to cloud. But they know their products, they know their fields, their database fields, everything, and they've done it before. But what we also learned was our timesheets is end of life in 2027. So we are making a step to make a step. We don't have enough time to replace the whole system. We have a lot of building blocks historically with Kronos already. So that's something that we'll need to consider. Munis is our financial system. They also have a payroll system. But it's not just payroll, it's our employee records, it's our benefits, performance, evaluate, and then I'm missing one thing. So, and then also our onboarding HR system called Cadient, which people apply to our jobs and flows into it. We need to make sure that's compatible with whatever solution we may choose. So we have some work cut out for us. We met with the vendor. We showed our displeasure with this time frame. And there is some writing on the wall of why this happened. And I'm happy to share that at another time. So they know that we're frustrated, and they know we're not just going to consider them as the next step. Munis is a viable option. We're just not sure of the data fields and the overall accuracy of data to data system A to B, and we're talking about a process that happens every 2 weeks, and it has to be down to the penny and seconds or minutes. So we have our work cut out for us. We have a great team. We met with the core team last week. We're going to be meeting again tomorrow. We are going to have bi-weekly meetings so that we stay on top of this. That way we get the budget numbers that we need to.
Are you looking at other products then?
Our main, with the time frame we have,
Paychecks, you know,
they're,
big guys, the little guys.
And-
And you know,
and-
my frustration with Coronas is we write them a $200,000 check every year, right?
yep,
Constantly modifying that shit.
yep,
Okay.
yep. So our main big options, our two good options would be Kronos and Munis.
So,
But other is there. There's Workday, there's many others, but with the time frame that we are looking at, we have to make a step to make a step. And what we want to do is minimize the disruption immediately, but look long-term. This is not a one-year solution. This is a 10-year solution that we need to look at. If we're gonna go to another solution, temporarily, we're gonna have 3 systems: Kronos, this new system, and Munis. And then from there, we would phase out probably the HR Kronos side.
Well, we sold a bill of goods, like,
well,
did they
Coronas-
promise?
Coronas has been around a long time.
I know, but
So
did
we
they,
were
did you
sold.
have an idea that it wasn't gonna last this long?
Well, how long has it lasted?
Yeah, so timeframes come and go. This one was expedited due to a recent event, is what we believe. But we can't say that, they have not confirmed that. But we are on a version that's been around for some time. Typically, service providers will provide end-of-lifes a year to, not a year, 2 or 3 years. Munis has told us in forums that if we're on version 2019, they will support it for 10 more years. So that means 2029. But they can change that. That is usually not listed within the contracts that we have. So that's something we need to always, and that's the IT department, we manage a bunch of roadmaps, a bunch of timeframes, a bunch of end-of-lives. The clickers in the boardroom, there's one example. Josh will speak a little bit more about the infrastructure that we'll have for the next item. So this is probably project priority number 1 for 2023.
So you're.
It's not even 2023. It's been pretty good.
Now,
So what's the plan? Are you gonna put some on the CIP, the offsets and the cost?
that's through budget
Maybe not
discussion.
just swap things, you know?
Our goal is to do an RFP to the 2 providers we know, potentially leave it open for others to provide us information. I would like to know where we sit with others. I would like to know if they're interested. I would like to know if we're in the ballpark. But yet I think it would be the more challenging if we did move to the other. But again, this is a 10-year solution. We are probably looking at 100 to 250 more. And that's with licensing fees and project fees.
Is that what Eunice says?
We don't know any price. We're trying not to talk about any pricing until we get into RFP and RFI. We obviously have relationships with our Kronos and Munis. Others we have not spoken to, just to keep fairness. We have that relationship with the 2 that we already have. So we are learning what other counties are using, and also what is our needs and requirements. And what we met at Management Council, and we'll talk with the main departments there. We also mentioned that this might be an opportunity to simplify some of our complexities when it comes to payroll and that, so.
So I started.
Every time we try to do that, it always meets with resistance. That's just my opinion.
Yes, but
Go ahead.
I started writing or drafting the RFP, just wondering if one of the options you'd like to look at, if I would put in there that they should include timekeeper with the option, you know, just to look at it, if it'd be more beneficial for us to update timekeeper at this time or wait till 2026, with the option of removing that cost if it's not most beneficial to the county. So it could be something that you could look at, that way you don't have to go through this
again,
again in 2026. So that is something I
do it
could
all-
write in
in my
there.
opinion, we do it all at once.
But we could just look at it, I could write it up that we're gonna include it with the option to exclude it if it's something that's
because if another provider,
too costly.
if another provider provides something, that would be good information. what is their time?
Can I'm just gonna make an editorial comment. We have to talk to HR, and they gotta stop changing policies over there that require changes in Chronos for the next year and a half. Because we can't keep having Chronos come in and modify their software to account for all of these one-offs.
2021 was a big year for HR and Chronos. This year, we do not have anything
Yet.
this year
Yet,
yet.
So do you know any other counties are having the same issue?
If they're on this product, then they are in the same boat as us.
We don't know who they are.
We are a minority. We are not a majority, which is one reason why they're phasing it away.
We could find
And
that out.
we will, yeah.
There's very few systems that are on site anymore, they're all in the cloud.
Yep, they're
Pushing.
pushing us to the cloud. Both products, Munis and Chronos, are saying move to the cloud.
But isn't that like a Microsoft product?
It's Azure, Google, and Microsoft are the big cloud providers
Yeah.
that they're using.
AWS.
well, it changed the model, right? I mean,
You
then
said
it's gonna
Azure,
be,
Microsoft, and Google.
right, so much per user per year or per month or whatever, right? You know, so every one of your employees is gonna have, you know, a login,
Yep.
right? And then they're gonna charge us per user, right? Every time we hire a new person, we're gonna have another fee.
Yep. And we're hearing from southern counties that are in hurricane territory, they too have told their providers they do not want to be in the cloud because if the internet fails, they need payroll, they need finance. So,
All right.
What about security reasons if it's in the cloud too?
there is security concerns. And that was one of the things that we were watching.
Well, cloud secure.
I mean, whatever.
All right.
Realistically, our
Unless somebody's got
Microsoft
more
cloud.
questions, we're
I mean,
gonna
it's-
move on.
This will be a standing item on going
Okay.
forward.
All right. Before we jump, Karen, are you here for a particular topic?
Just item 3, laptops. You can keep going.
All right.
Fine.
We'll get there then.
Yeah.
All right, infrastructure, renewal, refresh, roadmaps, triple R here.
And our goal is to provide you an overview of the infrastructure and also the roadmaps of end-of-lives, life cycles of products, and that's something that's where we're going to be developing. And I'll let Josh kind of share, he's had the most history but in 2018, the county, what's that?
That's it, thanks.
You can start.
No, go.
In 2018, the county invested in a good amount of infrastructure, but as you can tell, that is becoming 5 years or 4 years. So there is that boomerang effect of once you implement something, it comes with life cycles. And so that is coming up. The county invested 1.3.
1.285.
And then in what?
1.285, and we replaced our file storage, which houses all the dashboard video and camera feeds from the jail and the rest of the county. We put in hardware replication for our block storage, which what that does is it writes to both SANs at the same time in both Clearview and B10, so if something goes down, if one SAN goes down, we don't lose the environment, it still stays up. We went from Hyper-V to VMware. We had a lot of problems with Hyper-V, with constant crashes, unreliability, et cetera, so we replaced that. New backup system, which replaced a very unreliable backup system. And there's something else.
It's all part of the 1.285,
Yep,
right?
Yep. What was the last?
Hardware with the Hyper-V stuff too, or just software?
That was just software.
Alright.
Yep, and we used our existing SANs that we had already bought. But, yeah, so we bought that in 18, it's a 5-year life, we bought it with 5 years of support on everything. Oh, firewalls and network switches. We didn't buy the network switches until, I think, 19 or 20. but the firewalls. The firewalls, we only bought with 3 years of support because we didn't know what our internet speed was gonna be at the time. So we went with 3 years. We paid the renewal last year, paid the renewal this year. But everything else, that 5 years of support is up next year. And when you purchase hardware, the support, if you buy it up front, is always significantly cheaper. And then when the renewal comes, is usually a little bit of sticker shock. I have preliminary numbers right now.
Because they have you.
No matter. yeah.
True, but, so what this houses is Kronos, well, what, you know, you got VMware, you got the vPlex, you got the backup system, that's Kronos, that's Tyler, that's the sheriff's RMS system, that's every critical piece of, or critical system that we have, sits on these products. So to go in without support and pay time and material, you go to the bottom of the list,
Do we
they
budget?
get to it.
Do we budget every year for so much money for projects, or do we put stuff towards the CIP, or?
It's on the CIP.
Yeah.
The
Every year?
replacement is.
Replacement,
But
is,
not-
yeah.
not-
Not
not the
support
main
costs,
We-
correct.
We monitor the life cycles, yeah. It's not the same dollar amount every year. We don't have an IT fund that we budget every year.
To
roll in.
We don't have that.
So what does it mean?
So-
Dollar-wise, we got a budget for it, what's the action?
Well, that's what we're kind of looking for a little guidance, and I know the Kronos thing really puts a wrinkle in things, but support costs are going to be probably, I don't have concrete numbers, I'm guessing 150 added to the budget, give or take 10 to 20 either side.
But even if you know, to me, in my opinion, it makes sense that if we had actually budget money or put CIP money set aside, that we can roll into a fund, and we have money set aside, and we can go ahead, because technology is constantly changing every few years, we need to upgrade this stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of a specialty thing.
Yep. And during our budget discussions, we did mention such of an IT fund, but it is also viewed as budgeting, not actual expenses. They are future expenses, but they're not actual expenses. So that's kind of goes against some the philosophies that say. We have done leasing, but that's usually you lease and then you pay back. We've done third-party leasing, which had very, like 0% interest. And then we also borrowed ourselves, which had interest.
That's what we did in 18, we borrowed from ourselves. And there's some things that realistically would be better off to renew. They haven't been announced from Dell. And by announced, I mean, when Dell announces end of life of a product, you have from that date 5 years that you can buy support for it. The vPlex has been rock solid. We have had, you know, and now I say that, we'll probably go down tomorrow. But the vPlex has been rock solid for 5 years. We have had 0 problems with it. It has not been announced yet. I think probably the smart one on that is to just renew it and pay that price.
But on some of these projects, I mean, doesn't it make sense to like a 12 to 24 months before the renewal deadline's up, that we actually sit down and say, yes, we're going to renew it now, or we're going to look at another product?
Well, the renewal is October 31st of 2023.
Or
So
at that same time.
it actually is that time frame right now.
Right.
2 of the products that we bought in 18 have been announced. I forget what date that is, but they have been announced already. Our storage for the backup solution was sized about right for 5 years. At that point, it would make sense to either add storage or replace the back-end storage on that.
So our,
All right, all I'm gonna say is, that, you know, we need something in writing. I want something in writing. I don't want any more words about this stuff, because it starts to get confusing.
Yep.
We need to know
And I can,
what systems we're talking about and what costs are gonna be involved.
sure,
yeah.
I can request the
And the
renewal.
dates.
Well, yeah, the dates, but I think,
Timeframe.
I think we're gonna know that it's in 22 or 23 or whatever, but, so those three things is what we're gonna need.
I can get you, what we replaced in 2018, the renewal cost. I mean, I can't get firm numbers on what a replacement cost would be.
Yeah,
I can get a ballpark, but,
Don't even know if you can get one, right?
but,
Yeah.
correct. Some of this, like, yeah, the supply chain has crippled some things and been fine for others.
And our goal is to get what's the renew costs, what's the replacement costs, and then make
And then
a
what
good
makes sense.
decision
All
out
right.
there. In 2019, we did replace the servers. That was that lease with that third party. That annual cost is $168,000, and that is actually going away in 2023, I believe, because we did 3 years.
I bought that in
20 was the first year.
Oh, yeah,
21,
yes,
22,
correct.
it should not be, so, but this is all part of our project, our budgeting process, and we wanted to make you just aware of it, but we will get you more of a visual
Yep.
roadmap.
Let's leave that then.
Yep,
Because I personally get a little confused,
correct.
I'm trying to organize all this stuff.
And like,
Try to-
you know, I think you're the only committee member here from 18, right?
No, I don't think I was here, on this thing, maybe, who knows?
Yeah, because in 18, I had a spreadsheet, you know, this is what it costs to renew everything, this is what it costs to replace, this is how much, I mean, we saved a ton of money back then based on support costs alone, but,
Okay,
That was a different
so let's do that. And then Stephanie, I want to circle back to HR and payroll. You got everything you need from us?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's leave this renewal refresh thing, and then we're gonna ask you guys to bring something back
That will come back.
next month. We're gonna circle back to the top then. We had meeting minutes for April 28th. I'm not gonna nitpick because, you know, we actually have a motion and a second to close nominations and then
Yeah.
cast a ballot and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
work
fair.
that way, but if you guys are fine with the way it's written, I'm fine with
I can
it.
change it too.
No, I'm not gonna change it.
Okay.
You read that stuff?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
Go ahead.
The end results are the same, we just,
So I needed to add at the end, a close?
no, what we should have had was the motion and the second in there, and it just says all in favor,
Okay.
you know, so.
Yeah, I kind of followed what I did last
Somebody
time.
can play. Thanks, Stephanie.
Yep.
Have a great day. Appreciate you coming in. All right, all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
All in favor. So, number 3, county board laptops, which some of us received. Did we all get one today or what?
Yes.
Yes.
I have
Kevin, maybe not.
I have Kevin's right here.
All right, so, obviously, we didn't hit the May meeting. Yeah, this was in the minutes.
You don't want to wait. You want a copy?
I do, because I can't get into anything.
All right,
I can get into that.
I'm just gonna throw it to you. County board laptops, we didn't make the May meeting, we're gonna target June. For sure, all of us have access, hopefully, to your emails and, agendas maybe coming from the clerk via email. and packets.
County board, for county board.
County board.
Probably not in June if not everybody has them.
But
I guess
how
that's
about the
what
5 of us? Are you guys all willing to accept that your agendas and your packet will come via email?
Yes.
All right, so put the 5 of us down for sure.
Fantastic. Like, that is the goal though, for county board.
I don't need one on my desk, I don't need one
Do you need
mailed.
them and write, any of you need a hard copy?
Now's the time, all right.
So if we do need one, we can come and get it
We
printed
can
off.
come and print it off ourselves.
Well, we might not
Eventually.
have that process completed yet
Oh,
by
okay.
June.
That's fine.
Our goal is to have the print kiosk in the IT entrance office, so that we can help you any given day. It will be 8 to 4:30, but during county board meetings, I'm usually here, or somebody will be
Okay,
And I guess that's why I'm here, you've been voting using your laptop, Supervisor
Me
Belkin?
and Dave, yeah,
I did 2 months ago, but not this month, because
right, this last one.
And did it works fine?
it works fine, yeah.
It's quick, but I think because don't
I
have
haven't,
everybody on there right now.
I haven't tried to change a vote, not that I ever did before, but if you do request to speak, you just hit it again, and then you're unrequested to speak. So that worked out okay. Yes, no, and abstain, yeah.
Yeah.
It works pretty good.
Sorry, when I sit up front,
So
here,
you
so
can
well,
sit, mine says the domain isn't available.
Yeah, we have to configure them when we're up in the county.
Oh, cause it's not open meeting.
It's roll call pro, yeah, it's open meeting. Yep.
It'll work
Yeah.
upstairs, but not necessarily
Yeah, the
down
system
here.
is off right now, so you can't connect.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't connect to my email either.
Yeah, well, I'll help you with that before you leave.
then
All right.
do you need your token to get into your email?
Not here, but at home
Right,
you would.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless you're on a different network.
Yeah, unless you.
You all have your token? Okay. All right, then we have this policy, which I think we need to talk about along with this thing.
So I saw that there were yellow highlights in the, is that what you changed?
That's what, so Kim gave us a draft, and then I added the phone number and adjusted the language on that one line item, but I didn't change much else.
Which line item was that?
Default software applications. I think the wording was just different.
The first bullet under
Yeah.
device issue/return.
There was some unnecessary, not needed language of, I can't remember what it was, but didn't pertain to your laptops.
And this number is actually 8 to 4:30 or whatever?
Yes, 8 to 4:30, if you leave a voicemail, we will receive it.
And all the other stuff we talked about, the change, Kim changed, Kim was good with it?
It looked a lot cleaner than last time.
Well, I mean, the county board budget is gonna pay for it, remember, we said that
Yeah, and it wasn't,
it wasn't
yeah.
our responsibility kind of thing. I think there's an expectation of all adults with this stuff here, so, I'm not gonna take it out and spike it, so. Anybody have any problems with the policy then?
but we weren't calling it policy.
Well, this guy sitting next to me didn't wanna call it policy, but
I believe it's.
I'm
Acceptable
using that
use.
term loosely right now,
Acceptable use.
but I think they call it,
Acceptable use.
Acceptable use and acknowledgement.
Yeah.
yes.
And we gotta pay for the laptop and go, or stolen.
Didn't say it.
No, it comes from the county budget, it says.
If you break it twice, we'll give you a hard time. And it might be locked to your desk.
So is this money coming out of the county board budget or is it coming out of the IT
We
budget?
already had all these.
County
paid
board.
for it.
No, I meant like when you had to get a new one.
If you-
County board.
Okay, thank you.
We
that's
have
all.
some, we have some spares, so. we'll
I know, I
do
was
that.
just thinking, where is,
Yep.
That's the 5th bullet point now in the device issuance return thing. Otherwise, I think the changes that we requested at the last meeting are all reflected here, and so.
And executive on June 6th, they'll be reviewing it as well.
I think the expectation at some point will be for the committee agendas to be done this way too.
I would prefer it this
I
way, you
know.
know.
I look at them this
There's
way at
no
home
use for all that
anyways.
Yeah.
stack of paper.
You guys.
Well, cause pretty much
No
when you
reason
get
to
your
mail
agenda
it.
packet, there's only a couple of things you really need to print out anyways. Most of it's pretty basic.
All right, well, let's move on with this thing here then. If somebody's got any issues,
So you're looking for a motion approved?
well, we don't really
I
have it
don't
on
have
the
it.
agenda, so,
Yeah, I didn't know where
we'll
it's.
let exec approve it. We'll just send it to them from.
Well, they're gonna
from
ask me
us.
questions on it, so.
Well, hey, okay, but, straw poll,
So we good
everybody's
with-
okay with
So
it,
we all
right?
good with this then?
Yeah,
Yes.
Nobody's requesting any changes, Rob, so
Alright.
when it gets to exec, say,
Everything good?
nobody has any problems, okay?
These are the quick tips. I handed that out, so this is draft form. So if you see any typos or things you'd like changed, we can do that. Yeah, you have your laptop here.
So are you going to, is this going to be on
Mine doesn't work, I can't get on.
the board agenda, so are you gonna have time to talk?
That I'm.
Or
going to-
how are you gonna tell people what to do?
So we will put it on your desks, and we will have support staff there. And we will hopefully, the supervisors will come 5 minutes before the meeting so that we can get you connected. If not, it's not the end of the world, and we can, after the meeting, also help you, just like this meeting, get you logged in, get you acquainted to it, and then support you going forward. It doesn't have to be connected this meeting. We want to hand them out, and I'm happy to do it afterwards, and I'll follow Karen's lead on
I'm
it.
thinking you should maybe put a memo in the county board packet.
I think 5 minutes is not enough.
No.
You said 5 minutes before, that's not enough.
It's gonna be hard anyway. I mean, ideally, the 5 of us aren't gonna be necessary, right? That leaves 28 people, and we're gonna have to do the best they can,
Yeah,
you know, on June.
there's 5 of us, I can't log in.
Yeah.
So,
I did unlock yours.
I know, but it's, I get
do you-
this. it's
Well,
not
let's
right
just keep
domain.
moving on, and then,
If we'll
and then let's get it right at the end.
Okay.
We'll talk about it, Justin.
Yes. Yep, and we'll probably have at least 3 to 4 IT staff.
Any concerns for you, Karen, or
No, I don't think so, thank you.
anybody else have any concerns for county board laptops?
No, it's a nice laptop.
All right. Yeah, I think it's good that we're refocusing on that's good. All right, committee meeting, streaming and support to staff.
One item with the county board laptops. We know that switching from your packets to voting will have to be Alt-Tab, and then you can go back and forth. But we are going to do a backup plan or a test of used iPhones, and this is news to Karen as well. But the iPhone could be potential, if a supervisor forgets their laptop, we could have this kiosk phone that is a clicker only. So that's something that we're going to test. I have no working use case right now, but we will test that out as well. So, and that might expand into more than just spares, so something we posted.
Moving on.
Uh,
Meeting streaming.
Yep.
What's the word?
Yes, so working with Supervisor Sigmund, he has asked for some follow-up information of what that would take and what that would look like. And I have shared that I do have research from when we went to streamed from the county board of all counties within Wisconsin. I did not specifically look for if they're streaming committees. This was only for county board. But he would like to have more information, and I wanted to present it to you to kind of get your direction, as well as we can look at what the cost would be for equipment, what the technology would be used, what's the location. He has shared that his interest is finance, HR, JPP, LRP, because they're already doing it also, and I think one other committee that I don't, Human Services. But would that be located in the boardroom? Would that be streamed? Would it be recorded? And what is the simplest and most effective process? If we have those committees within the county board, we would need staff to start the meeting and probably work through the meeting and make sure the technology is working. And also maintain the records of the video and that as well. So that's kind of a mix of IT and county clerk staff. And that's just 5 committees. But then when you have one location, you have committees that may meet at the same time, just like tonight with HR and IT. So you get into those complexities.
When we did COVID, and we were doing it from our house, was that through Teams or was that through Zoom or?
Teams. Yep.
So couldn't you do the same thing on, you could have like, you can buy like a little camera for like $30 and just have a laptop set up and just, stream it that way?
So we do have Teams. We have a significant Microsoft annual agreement that we would like to leverage as much as possible out of it. Other counties have used Zoom, and they use solutions of such. We do have live events with Teams, so we would have to create the events, make sure that you're joining with your laptops, just one more thing with your laptops.
Right.
It is not, it's complex, it can be, it's technical, it can fail, and there too, we did not go to Teams live events because it was more technical and needed more support. The solution that we went with was Vimeo, which is streams, and Karen, and we're still working through some bugs, but the idea was she could hit record or stream, and it was streamed. I didn't have to be there, or technology support didn't have to be there. It streams it, it saves it automatically, you don't have to render it, it's automatically right there. But Karen and her staff still have to download the videos and save them as that is the official record. So there is technically options, but it's probably more staffing considerations that we need to consider more than technical. Technical, I'm pretty sure we could come up with a lot of options and find the most cost-effective solution, but it's staffing.
All right, let us hammer this a little bit. So, in my humble opinion, you already have all the equipment you need in that room. There's no reason that we can't do that in that room across the hall right now today.
That's set up for Teams,
So,
not Vimeo.
what would it take to get it out there?
For Vimeo,
Yeah.
Camera? We have the camera.
Where?
It's the pan, tilt, and zoom up there.
So the equipment is there.
The camera is,
He needs the software and
yeah.
download the app or whatever.
So we can record with Teams, but it doesn't stream it, it just records it.
I understand.
And
But,
then that video has to be uploaded to whatever medium that would be viewed.
so my opinion would be, what would it take to take that room and at least start with that? Because we must have some of the equipment already.
Well, depending on the committees, we would have to assign an IT person there to start and finish.
Or train,
I was thinking somebody within the committee, that could be what they're supposed to do, to start it.
I mean, I get it, you know, for me, I would need a login, right? To whatever machine is hosting the Vimeo session, right?
So Karen usually sets up the Teams events. I can set up well, this is for just,
County board,
this is more for meetings within there. So we would have to,
I never set up.
set up a Teams meeting
I-
with a phone number.
Well, to me, Teams is cumbersome, you know, I would rather have something like Vimeo where it's just one button, you know, and it's recorded. And, because, you know, then somebody doesn't have to sit and monitor it, and then the guy's got, hey, turn off your audio, turn on your audio, all that shit. Just, a camera's in the back of the room, at the beginning of the meeting, you hit record, and it's live streamed.
Yep, the county board, I think, was $50,000 to $70,000. We use routes to recovery funds. We can ask for proposals to mimic what we have up there, which would be.
But we don't need the same number of cameras.
Just one,
Yep, one camera.
probably one, because that
And
one
one
that's on
view.
the wall is more for Teams.
Understand.
And it can be integrated, absolutely, but I don't think it's the same camera. But that's a technical detail.
All we would need is a tie-in to the audio.
Well, why couldn't we just use Teams and just, when you do the agenda, put it on the agenda that we're gonna use Teams and access code?
So that laptop in there is set up as kiosk, and if the meeting is created, it can be then started from that laptop and recorded, but then that video needs to be downloaded and uploaded to wherever the public would be able to access it. It's not part of Vimeo.
But it could be done the next day.
Next day, it's just, it takes staffing and additional responsibilities.
But couldn't somebody just click onto it and watch it live if they wanted to? If they had the link?
So county board laptops, if you were included in the meetings, you could then join the meetings with Teams and see it live, just like you would now. That's the live aspect. But the public cannot really, we can't invite the public
Because they would be able to talk and we'd hear the baby crying and all that kind of stuff?
They would be, a live event would be more, because then they would be muted, but also we don't have everybody's emails countywide. So you have to send an appointment out.
All right, so let's push forward a little bit. What would you like to see? Do you want Teams or do you want Vimeo?
I don't think it matters. I don't
Okay.
care. What do you think?
Yeah, it sounds like Vimeo's easier, so,
I just think back to the old school board days, right? It was just for camera in the back of the room, you hit record,
I know.
and away we went, right?
Yep.
And that's what I envision here. Not, all this training, Teams, and somebody calling and complaining because they can't connect, and there's no audio, there's no
That's what
video.
happens.
It becomes a nightmare for the chairman or the committee to deal with the crap. So-
It's audio, it's video, which you want professional audio and video, because if it's being recorded, we need that. That's, no matter what location you are, you already have that in the county board. Here, some meetings are teams, so I can't assign that camera.
I understand. So let's think about, what would it take to get a camera in there?
I would say something very similar we have, somewhat of a sound system, and we already have a stream box that we have.
Oh, we got mics in there now, right? I assume they all go into an amplifier or something, so there's gotta be an output from there.
Yep.
So we're gonna have to tap into the output. right?
So if we use Vimeo, we can get a box called a Monarch, which is a streaming box. On that box, there is a record and there is a stream, it's a button. That's easily pushed. In the county boardroom, we do have a light that notifies within that says it's recording. I don't know what that looks like, but that would stream to Vimeo. The other gotcha that we have is if we stream on the same channel as the county board, you're going to have county board, committee, county board. It's you just have to look at the dates and look through that. We might be able to do a second channel, meaning committees and county board separate. We'll try to do that.
Does it cost more, is that it? Do
That-
you have to buy another channel, or?
The channel might come with our Vimeo subscription now. Vimeo is about $1,000. We have no tech support. It's just, we get what we get. And it's $1,000 a year, and we thought that was the most cost effective, even though it is a lot. But there are other solutions out there that are $12,000, $15,000 a year. And for 12 meetings at the county board meeting, we didn't think that was needed. But we can look at a Monarch box, some tap into the audio. It's the video that I have to think about more.
Could there be something brought back to the next meeting?
Well, tell them what you want them to do.
I want them to find the cost. I want to find what equipment is necessary to make it happen.
I would
And the
personally, I
gyms.
would like to see it start right there.
Auditorium.
There's a lot of meetings that take place there. If we start there, we can figure out what it would take, and then we can move it.
And how are we storing it?
The stream goes to the cloud, it automatically saves, there is no threshold in terms of storage. This box that I spoke of also has a record option, we can look at that as well, which goes to an SD card. The reason why we did that is because if the internet fails, we still have a record of it. We actually needed to break out 2 boxes within the county boardroom because we were having some issues, and now we have one stream box and one record box. That way, if one fails, the equipment, we have one or the other. And I know that you can stream, let's say if you just recorded, someone has to turn it on, view it, and then stream it up.
Let's work with Kim and create, a record retention policy for this stuff too.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can just limit.
county must have a record retention policy.
We have one that follows the state it's a Unicode on our website.
But Nancy, to deal with the stream videos,
Yeah,
that we don't have to necessarily keep.
because we have hard copy.
Yeah.
I would just like to say just a little something regarding the storage. Anything that we can put to the cloud and not our local storage for all this video that would accumulate through
Yep.
committee meetings would probably be best for the county,
Yep.
both financially.
Hence a
and-
retention policy too, like if we only keep it for 6 months or something, then we just, even out in the cloud, we don't have to worry about it.
We'll push you back up on our SD card.
Oh, for those sticks. Some of this stuff's like 150 gigabytes. You know, you get an hour meeting and it'll be
And
150
do we have,
gig.
what about our storage size on the clouds? Do we pay for?
Well, I think
So
the,
much?
in the
Video
solution,
line.
it's unlimited.
It's, we need to, for records retention, we need to have a copy of that. But just like any, document for county board or committee meetings.
Okay.
I think we had to break out the county board in 30-minute chunks or sections, because a 30-minute section at the time was 2 gigs. So we're trying to adjust the, size, quality. Instead of having 4K, we'll have, 720p. You know,
I
it
get
looks
it.
fine on a computer, you don't need high def. So,
And remember,
And it's not 150 gig.
wasn't that long ago, we had Charter Channel, Beaver where everything
Yeah.
was, you know, just right on the, well, now a lot of people don't even have Charter, they got no streaming video. Yeah, with Charter. Back
Plus
when
there
it
was-
VHS tape.
Well, we had a CD,
Yeah.
that's how we got it.
All right, summarize, what are we gonna provide, what are you gonna bring back?
look at auditorium, look at some cost options, keep the cost as reasonable as possible, creative solutions.
For that room,
Yes.
that's all I want you to worry about today.
Yes, I may, depending on the cost, if we want it to be a touch panel like the county board, it might be 20, 30,000. And that's, we could get proposals, yeah.
I want a solution like we did for the school, just so you know, just
I
find
know.
the camera and hit start, so.
I was behind that camera and.
As an option, seriously,
Yeah,
you know, I don't wanna necessarily say it's gonna take $20,000.
no,
And I certainly don't want a support staff to have to mess with
Right.
this stuff. I mean, to transition the file from, live to the network,
okay,
maybe,
okay.
but,
Like if we turned it off at night, when our meeting was over, somebody was in charge, the chairperson or whatever was in charge of turning it
turn it
off.
off.
Then in the morning, somebody would go in there and,
I think we have 48 hours to get it done. I think that's what the current policy is.
Okay.
Okay,
Now
so
it's-
I-
we're gonna tweak that record retention policy and all of the policies at the same time for committees.
Okay,
That's the goal.
sounds good. We can get creative.
Is that good?
Yeah.
but
There'd be so many problems with that stuff. Anyway, internet for all. So,
This-
write some grants, man, $48 billion
Your favorite
sitting out
topic,
there
right,
just
Dave?
waiting for me to
Isn't
spend.
this your favorite topic?
Internet for all?
Yeah, broadband access.
No farmer left behind.
Yeah, but if you actually read the stuff, the farmer is left behind, because
Yeah.
most of it's middle mile and,
I get it.
you know.
This is for your awareness only, and that's all the information I have, is the bead, it was something that, Design 9 mentioned, so 42 billion, and then you see the other acts as well, so it's just to build awareness of what might be out there. Do we qualify? Don't know. With us being rural, I think we have a good shot.
We have
It's just-
someone working on it.
So we gotta wait for the state, right?
I think this,
it
yeah, I think
feeds
when
to
I
the
read it,
state.
looked like the state was the one that actually secured it,
Yeah.
Yep.
monitored it.
so when is the date?
Told it out.
So the PSC is probably what we need to monitor, as we have been. Nate Olson and Bill Ellenbeck have been monitoring that.
So we have people, staff that does grant writing for,
Not specifically just grant writing, but that's something that we probably need to consider.
I agree with that. For all departments. We need a grant writer.
well, do we have a grant writer actually on staff in
No.
Dodge County?
No, we do.
No?
Does Stephanie do grant writing type things?
Probably not, I mean, it's kinda like any municipal, probably, it's like they got people that do it part-time or here and there, but not as
Contract.
official person, that's what he designated
Hire
for.
somebody for the sole purpose.
You almost, you could probably get a full-time person designated just for grant writing.
It would probably pay for itself.
It would.
And plus, but you'd, you know, it would be an easy one to evaluate.
Why don't you bring that proposal to exec next meeting there?
Oh, there you go.
Would have been a great use of ARPA,
What's that?
grant writer.
Why, we already, ARPA funds are already guaranteed.
I know, but.
No, they pay for the person to write the grant.
Person to write the
Except-
grant.
Yeah, but there's a lot of pushback about paying for a salary person for money that's only here for 2 years.
All right,
Moving on.
for your awareness,
Well, that's
Internet for
purely-
all,
Internet for all.
rural electrification program, internet. All right. One of my favorite topics, appreciation, IT support specialist, 11 years. Talk to me.
Yes, so Nicole Streblo has worked for the county for 13 years. Prior to IT, she was in human services, and we wanted to just recognize her years as IT support specialist for 11 years. She did great while being in that position, and we look forward to her continued contributions to Dodge County and LRP. And we just wanted to recognize her and her efforts for us. For 11 years is a long time for that position.
Somebody disconnected the chains? They took the chains off and they let her go?
She saw the opportunity to go to LRP. It was a good move personally, with being in the same position for 11 years. She said the new opportunity she looks forward to. Not that she didn't look forward to her position, but it's a good change for her.
So you're looking for a motion?
No,
Nicole, he's just making our awareness that Nicole's leaving and
All right.
And they're looking for somebody.
always look for appreciation.
So we do have a vacancy. We are gonna start interviewing tomorrow and the next day. So we had
We
15
talked about this
applicants.
last month too,
We
right?
did, yes.
We have 15 applicants. We are going to be interviewing 7.
Great.
Good. Help desk.
We went live May 19th, that last Thursday. So far, so good. It is a change. Following the IT staff, we have been working on this for a good amount of time, and we needed to find a good time. And with our transitions, this was our best time. And what we were moving away from was a free help desk solution with advertisements and an end of life fairly soon. So this solution we evaluated in 2021. We looked at 12 solutions, narrowed it down to 3 finalists, and we were very pleased with our finalists. That was cost effective, and now it provides us a lot of different options and lets us document and manage our requests, prioritize them by impact. For an example, if it's organizational wide, we're probably gonna work on that more than just the user. Not saying a user's not important, but usually an organizational wide request impacts more than just one individual. And then obviously there's urgency and criticalities, and we're gonna try to minimize the back and forth communication. It is a change for the IT staff. There will be some challenges, and we'll look forward to
When did we decide we were gonna get a
demo.
of the help desk system?
Once we had enough data in it.
Okay.
So we've had,
June? Or do you think
I
that's
can,
too early?
yeah, I can show that. We've been on it for 5 days. We have a good number of tickets in there.
All right, you guys wanna see it in June? Or July?
Doesn't matter to me.
Some of us wanted to see it in January, if you
Yeah.
remember, Kevin, so.
It's been longer than 5 days. Tickets were in before Thursday, we just went exclusively in on Thursday, so
Yep, we directed.
there's.
Let's do July, then you'll have more than enough time with it. And then,
Enough county board members to put their tickets.
probably,
Rob asked for that much help.
so far it's a good goal?
Yes, I think
All right.
so. It's a
Sure.
change. It's a change.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I joke, but, you know, we've been talking about this thing since last year.
Yes.
And I think January is when we were gonna do a demo, and then it just got pushed off. We understand you're busy, so.
Yep, no, thank you for your patience.
All right, IT security controls and practices, what do you want to talk about that?
This was just awareness, and what we're gathering is what is the industry saying that we need to focus on the most when it comes to security controls and practices, because there's a lot of options and solutions that are out there that are very expensive, and there's some that just, the systems need to be tweaked. So that I thought this was relevant, just coming, so CISA is a federal agency. They push out alerts whenever they see something of significance that would be for our awareness, and also just best practices. So in summary, and some of these we're already doing, some that we can do better. Access control is to do least privilege. So if I don't need access to a system, I should not have access. That goes across all employees. Hardened credentials, we were working on the password length from 8 to 12, but more to be done there. Centralized logging, once we have logging, if an event happens, we would then have the logs to look back and how to prevent it in the future. We have antivirus, we have some detection tools. We are trying to secure our internet-based systems. We have a cyber hygiene scan every week. And initially when CISA was scanning our externals, we had a good number of vulnerabilities. A vulnerability is something that's known out in the industry that can be exposed. We went from a good amount to now we're down to 1. It doesn't mean we don't have more than that, but at least our scan is getting better. And then keep software updated. That is our computer life cycles. That's hardware and software. So that is the industry's overall, but it's a good read. It's a simple read. MFA, we've enabled no default passwords, meaning if you get a device from Best Buy, you want to change the password immediately, because if you Google this model, this hardware, what is the default password? That's all they need to do. So those are some things that we, so good read, and that's all I'll kind of speak of right now.
Okay.
We didn't have projects on here, but any major problems, any issues?
No, we're gonna be working on the RFP for the St. Helena Tower. I know there's continuing discussions and questions on that. Human Services and Finance, NX, has been kicked off. That is the financial module of Human Services system. It's just being upgraded to the newer version. Ongoing cybersecurity and operating system version upgrades. But more behind the scenes, but this is a good list for right now.
Will you be able to update these remotely?
They will receive updates. You may have to restart them every once in a while.
But you will push them out remotely too?
Yes, as you
Okay.
come here, hopefully when you show up for a meeting, they don't just randomly restart, but let us know if that happens, because they are part of the Dodge County directory system, and they may receive updates here. They should have them remotely, but you will have them mostly at your house. And as you come here, it might get updates, so keep us posted.
The update schedule is usually the first Wednesday of the month
Okay,
at
that's good.
6:30 PM is when they should run. They are pushed a couple weeks ahead of time. What you'll see is a little, do you have that in the corner of yours? Do you have the update? Yeah. Over, right, no, down, over, no, too far, right there. That's the icon right there, that shows that there's updates. I know it's very small there, but, and I think it's just a right click and install updates, isn't it?
View required.
All view required, and then you can just run them right now.
Okay.
I would recommend to run them as soon as you see them, because if you wait and wait and wait, you're gonna come to county board and just turn it on and be like,
Yeah.
oh, and that's a hard deadline that
Yeah.
we cannot
That
stop.
should be in the training
We've gotten a couple calls,
materials. You'll be
Right.
sitting at the
Yeah.
you know,
board
where
meeting
people are like,
wanting
oh,
to
can you
vote.
stop this? No, we can't, it's gonna run. So,
Okay.
We do not deploy the most recent because of bugs or breaks, so we're usually a month behind. But
unless it's a
critical.
yeah.
Yeah, and then, St. Helena, where are we gonna run the fiber to in the town here? Is it gonna be
radio room to radio room,
the radio room,
yeah,
or is that over at
the
the?
highway shop.
Oh,
So
the
that's
highway
at the
shop.
tower over there, and then the conduit out of Highway S, and that goes out to the city limits. That's Conduit, and then from there, down Highway S, past Town of Oak Grove, down DJ, over to St. Helena and up. And it's fiber optic only. There is, it's patch cable, or patch bay to patch bay, probably LC to LC. And talking with Amy and Joe, they are gonna work with Motorola and determine what is needed, but they believe it's small modules.
So the radio room, is it big enough to handle expansion?
There's 2 racks there.
Because if we do decide we wanna put fiber in the whole county, right, we're gonna need more space.
That would have to be determined later, yes. That would have to be.
And then, of course, if that's the location, the phone company is across the street, so you can just run a fiber right directly in the building.
So that would be, those locations would have to be specifically reviewed and determined. Because your point is valid, there would be service providers in those spaces.
Right.
And it would be a shared telco closet.
Right.
That's not just county operations. And,
You might wanna have a separate building outside or whatever, co-located.
yes, yep.
Okay.
Just be in the cloud and it would be secure, wouldn't it?
Yeah, right.
Another statement about those updates, if it's a holiday week, that
Coming up.
like next week, we will not run those updates on Wednesday. It goes to the following week, because the way we figure, if people are on vacation, they're gone, they're not gonna open up their laptop that week, so we always delay that a week. So that happens 3-4 times for a year.
Any public comment? Carl? Donna? All right, future agenda items, anybody have anything?
I will not be here the next meeting. I'll be at a
June
technology,
28th?
I'll be at a technology conference.
Oh,
June 28th.
Yeah, I'll be at ISTE,
Is that the next meeting?
yeah.
June 28th is our next meeting. We're gonna go without you then,
Yeah, well, I
right?
figured that.
Everybody else can, right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Anything else, anybody?
Nope.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
We're
you.
adjourned by the chair.
Can I steal your per diem sheet right away?
Yeah, and minutes.
Minutes, if you have any minutes, who's your secretary?
Yeah, I am.
Kathy is, I don't know if she signed it.
I haven't signed because I haven't seen it.
I'll put it.
June 28th at
5:30?
5:30.
Okay.
If it can be in the auditorium, great.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
When, well,
Thank you all.
when is HR meeting on the 28th?
I don't
Donna?
know the minutes are.
HR is, no,
I don't have, does anybody have the minutes
I-
stuffed in
that's
their
it.
papers?
Yeah.
The only thing I saw is per diem sheet here. I don't have any papers. I hate
Here's
paper.
minutes.
our next
Oh,
regular meeting
these?
is.
Is this
Yeah.
one okay?
Yeah, can you?
I can sign that.
So I can't log in, so
Oh, and I couldn't get on my
She took, the
email.
only paper I
He
had
doesn't
was the
have
per
any-
diem. I gave it to her.
I got it. That's all I need.
The minutes are with that.
Can we,
Well, it was, the per diem was sitting right here, so I snatched
Can we
it.
actually?
Chair has to sign
What's
it
that?
too, I guess.
What do you just do, what?
On the what?
On the tip stuff.
Since you logged in,